Most agencies don't have a content problem, they have a psychology problem. Even though they have video editors, thumbnail designers, they've got the accent, the background, it doesn't work because they're not accounting for the psychological problems of dopamine frying, bad feedback loops, copied strategies, and fake urgency. And because of this, their content actually doesn't work. In this video, I'm going to show you the exact content engine we install in agencies that books them 20 qualified calls in 60 days without having to do any sort of bullshit strategies, which actually create demand, filter leads, and convert traffic. Because if your content feels like a chore, if you feel like you're just posting videos out of the sake of posting videos, if it doesn't attract leads that actually buy, and if it dies in the feed and never actually compounds, it is not a niche problem. It is not an offer problem. It is an engine problem. Because if you struggle with consistency with content, it's because you're not accounting for cognitive overload. If you get views but no calls booked, it's because you're not dealing with the dopamine systems in your viewer's brain. If your content doesn't work and you sit there and cry about it, it's because you have bad feedback loops. If you copy what works for other people, you are actually exhibiting mimetic desire. And if you have a fake scarcity on your landing page that says you're only taking on 5 new clients the next month, it's actually diluting your brand. Because by the end of this video, you're going to have a step-by-step mechanism to actually book calls, to actually get results, actually book calls for your agency or coaching offer, actually get people to pay you money, and actually have a working personal brand. All of this once we deal with this scenario. Let me make myself shorter. Let me talk about this. Because the biggest problem you're going to be facing is dealing with cognitive overload. Most people struggle to be consistent with content because they have too much going on in their minds. Think about this. This is your brain. And because of this, you've got so many ideas, so many formats. And because of this, what happens is that you are stuck in a cognitive overload trap. Because your brain functions less. Your brain will function slowly when you actually are just, confused about stuff. Most people have broken strategies. They try so many different things. Why do you think nothing works for them? If you're an agency owner, if you're posting content, it's very important for you to understand this because this is going to save you so much time. It's actually insane. In later parts of this video, I'm going to show you the exact system, the AI system I use to deal with all this scenario. By the way, cognitive overload is very important to understand. We are here to optimize our content. Optimize it for you, optimize it for your viewer. Because if you do not optimize your content, you're not going to be able to do anything. Let's optimize it for you first, because you can't really do something in the external if you can't deal with it in the internal. Why do you think your content is not working? I can probably say 90% of people watching this video, their content doesn't work. It's because they have too many different things going on. They have 100 different formats of videos. They've got 10 million different content ideas to talk about. Look at this simple framework. 3x problems. Your entire strategy is focused on 3 problems. 1 format, 1 CTA. Your viewers are dumb. Okay, your viewers are actually dumb. So if you want to optimize to get viewers to actually click, you need to understand that you need to actually make it simpler for them to do stuff. The reason why your leads are not booking calls with you, they're not clicking on your link in your landing page, it's because it's too complicated for them. There is too much shit going on inside their fucking brain. Their brain is fucking overloaded. And because of this overload, obviously they can't operate. Because one thing you need to understand, nobody's going to talk about this in the online, content space. There is a reciprocity imbalance. What does that even mean? Reciprocity imbalance? We expect our viewers, our leads, to book calls with us while we don't do shit for them. How does that make sense? We humans are pain avoiding creatures. We're going to run away from pain. And so if we want to optimize our content, we need to generate pain. Think about this. The more complicated your idea, the more complicated your content, the more pain you're generating in the minds of the viewer, and because of that, they don't book calls with you. You need to focus your entire strategy on 3 problems that your ICP faces. 1 format that you can focus on, 1 CTA. Make it absolutely ridiculously easy for your viewers to win. This is how you optimize yourself. You need to optimize yourself. But how do you optimize for your viewers? How do you optimize so that they have less cognitive difficulties, they have less cognitive dissonance, and they actually convert? We want to make booking calls with us the most simplest idea, or the most simplest step. This will only and only happen once you understand how pain works. Think about this. This point here is the maximum amount of pain that your lead can face. This is where we actually close them as clients. This is where you get on a sales call, you take money from them. For all the other problems, you have to focus your content. It has to logically make sense for them to listen to what you have to say. Because at every single stage, if you're there to solve a problem for them, you're generating more trust, you're giving them more stuff. So because you're giving them more stuff, they're obliged to give it back to you. That's when they book a call. I'm able to pull this off with like 1,000 followers on Instagram, less than 300 subscribers on this YouTube channel. Why? Because at every single stage of content, I am there. I am solving that. You need to reduce cognitive overload. Most people are not consistent with content. It's because they have too much shit going on. Pick 3 problems, 1 format, 1 CTA. The next thing you need to deal with is a dopamine trap. This is by far the biggest trap you're going to fall into. Let me know if this is actually something that you face. You post a video, maybe the next day you check the YouTube studio or like the Instagram analytics, you see like the views are all down, and then you feel sad about it. You feel sad. How many times has that happened? How many times has it happened that you post a piece of content, it doesn't perform even though you thought it would, and now your entire mood is off, your confidence is at its lowest, you don't want to do this anymore. The reason why your strategy doesn't work, it's because you're not accounting for this. You cannot be making decisions based on dopamine. This is the dopamine trap. Because every single time, you've got 2 types of processing in your brain, right? You've got process imagery and you've got outcome imagery. Process imagery is where you're actually thinking about the process. You're thinking about the step-by-step things that you must do, right? That is process imagery. Outcome imagery is where you're thinking about the outcome. So it's like basketball players sitting down and thinking about the outcome of actually putting a 3-pointer and winning the game. That's the outcome-based imagery. Process imagery is where they're thinking about every single dribble, every single pass, and then the shoot. Right? These are the 2 kinds of processes inside your brain. You need to understand this. You need to understand the fact that if your entire strategy is dependent on outcome imagery, wherein you have a preconceived notion of how your content is going to perform, you are fucked, my friend. What you must instead do is track everything with data. Right? You can see here all my reels are tracked. Okay? Every part of my strategy is tracked. So every decision I make comes from process imagery and not outcome imagery, because I'm not focused on the outcome. I'm focused on the process. I'm focused on the process of actually making better content. You are going to fall into this dopamine trap. You are. Because most people, we as humans, are hardwired to be focused on outcomes, to be focused on this sort of stuff. This is where you're fucked. You must focus on actually tracking your data. So I'm going to show you the exact systems that I use to actually create content. Firstly, I track all of my data. So every Instagram reel is tracked. Then I have an N8N automation, which, not this one, wait, wrong one, bro. Not this one as well, my bad. I have an Instagram data report generation. So this is the entire N8N system which works every single week, creates reports based on my data, my real data. It then processes this data, adds it to a custom knowledge base. Once it has been added to the knowledge base, then it moves on to this AI content ecosystem, which generates me ideas for content. Then it takes the idea which I approve, creates talking points for me to speak about. Then it creates me these Miro boards. Think about this. This entire video was entirely generated by AI. And if you're watching this to this point, it has worked, right? It has worked. Now imagine this for your own business. Imagine this for your own agency or coaching business, in which you don't have to sit down and do any of this stuff. AI does this all for you. I use this exact mechanism to generate 30,000 views per week. Then use it to extract the top 1% of my audience, convert them onto YouTube, book 3 to 5 sales calls every single week. I am booking 3 to 5 sales calls every single week for my own consulting offer. With 1,000 followers on Instagram, with less than 300 subs on YouTube. The entire infrastructure has to be built upon psychology. This is how it works. You have the top of the funnel content based on IG, YouTube and ads. You have interconnection between all of these mechanisms. You have a landing page. You have an IG profile. Interconnection in between them. DMs, you close people in the DMs. Classify them between cold, warm, hot. If they're warm, you send them a lead magnet. Email sequences to nurture them. Low ticket offers. If they're hot, send them a landing page. Boom. They've booked calls with you. This system works so well. The reason why, I'll tell you right now. Let's say you post a content piece on IG. You post a reel on IG, right? You've posted a reel on IG. You put a CTA at the end to comment down below. Send them a YouTube link. Every single person from YouTube goes to a landing page. From here, they book a call. But guess what? Every single time you have a CTA for a comment, Instagram pushes more of your content. So you get more people to watch your YouTube video, more people on the landing page, more people to book calls. This system is self-sufficient. It feeds itself. Because I've built it upon psychology. Because every part of this is built upon psychology. This works so well. And I do this one-on-one with my clients, by the way. There is no way that, a lot of people charge like 9K, 10K USD for the system. I work one-on-one with my clients to make sure they can scale. We come up with custom strategies together. We win together. So if you're an agency owner or coach who wants to actually scale using content, want to actually create low barrier to entry content, which is actually going to make it easier for you to produce these consistently, predictably, also book calls predictably, and actually enjoy building a fucking personal brand, click the first link in the description, book a call with me and my team. Otherwise, you can go and check my Instagram, see see all of the stuff that I do, enter into my funnel. Because I don't really care if you book a call with me or not. These videos I'm posting out here to actually show you what's possible, to actually inspire you to take that decision. I don't care if you actually click that description, you book a call with me. But if you do, just know that it's the right decision. Don't sacrifice your future self for the pleasure today. Peace.